I think it's highly unlikely that the world will end according to the apparent predictions of the Mayan calendar on the 21st of December. Before I carry on with this, I just want to show you a picture. That's not the Mayan calendar, that is the Aztec stone of the fifth sun, which was apparently used for sacrifices. The interesting thing about the Aztecs was that they had a 52-year cycle in their calendar, which ended in 1519 and a number of other times. And that was in fact the time when Cortes invaded and the Aztec civilization came to an end about 2 years later. So that's quite interesting. It did manage apparently to predict something correctly. Although obviously chances are it was a coincidence. Now, here are some pictures of the solar system at 11:11 AM GMT on the 21st of December 2012.
This is a picture of the outer solar system showing no particular interesting conjunctions or anything. And by the way, the codec's much nicer than FFD's show, isn't it? That's the moon showing that it's nowhere near a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse, which can only happen... Sorry. And that is a picture of the Earth and the Southern Cross, which is where the Coalsack Nebula is. That's a picture of the inner solar system. The most interesting thing there is the conjunction between Mercury and Venus, which happens several times a year.
As you can see, there's nothing particularly exotic going on in the sky at that time. The thing about the Coalsack Nebula, which actually is quite interesting because apparently Patrick Moore was the only person ever to catalogue that. The Coalsack Nebula is not in a special place. There are no conjunctions that are of interest apart from the Mercury and Venus one, which is quite interesting. There's nothing happening in the outer solar system either. The Mayan long count calendar, I actually first noticed this in about 1978, and I was a little concerned, but I sort of got over that. And you have to remember I was only living in 1978, so it's not terribly surprising that I was concerned about it. There are Mayan inscriptions which refer to dates several thousand years in the future from the 21st of December this year. As a result, it doesn't appear that the Mayans actually thought the world was about to end at that point. But suppose, instead of being sceptical about this, we say we will use this as a resolution to behave differently from this point. If enough people do that, something will change. It's like John Lennon's thing, war is over if you want it. It's quite a naive position, of course, because there could be just wars, there could be people in very difficult positions who are being conscripted, and it's hard to imagine that everybody will actually agree with that. But suppose, instead of being sceptical about this, we actually say, this is actually a date from which we are going to behave better and differently towards each other. This is a date from which we will do random acts of kindness, we will make efforts to be compassionate to all people, and we will make efforts to listen to people and understand their positions. And what if something grows from the seed that's planted from that? It involves being active rather than passive. You can't let it happen to you or assume it's going to happen. Something you would actually have to make an effort to do and actually sort of go out and do these things, or be passive in the sense that you remove yourself from negative activities that you've previously been involved in. It is in fact possible that we could produce some sort of change together on the 21st of December this year. And I think really that's what we should do, and that's the lesson that we should take from that. I'm also a little concerned that there'll be people who will commit suicide or do other things as a result of this happening. But I think we can also turn it into a positive thing and resolve that we are, from this point onwards, going to behave better, and always to bear this in mind, because we are in a new age, and we can make that new age whether or not we have mystical new age beliefs.